depending on what it is, if there's a particular kind of plugin, it may show like a thumbnail view. But it depends, it really depends on what the URL is linking to. So it's best to just play around and kind of see what happens. I've gotten very different results. Yeah?
Are the photographs, do you click on them to see the full
Oh yeah,
picture
sorry.
of the document? Yeah, because it was odd to me that was only parts of it. I couldn't.
Yeah, no. So you upload, one of the things we'll see when we play with this later, you upload the full image, your archival image, and then OMEKA creates the thumbnails for you. Yes?
Can you look at an image and play the sound file related to it at the same time?
If you open 2 tabs in your browser,
Okay, so tab.
but no,
Okay.
not otherwise. I mean, one thing you could do, and maybe they will do eventually, is you could create an exhibit that pairs the audio with the item, and then you might be able to have some more interaction where you could play the audio file while looking at the image in an exhibit page. But they just have item pages and simple pages, so right now, you'd have to do that.
I think one of the things that's cool about this exhibit is that this is very, very basic OMEKA.
Yeah, this is like the simplest kind of OMEKA you can have, and they've done
And it's
really
very
cool stuff with
elegant,
it.
very clean, the appearance is very attractive, and the functionality is great. And they've done it without even using all the features of OMEKA. So I think that's why this is such a good example, is that this is, it's the stuff that's in it and the way they thought out how to put it together that makes it, that's where the work lies in this.
Yeah. And, okay.
Which is reasonable.
Yeah. So we'll go and we'll look now, what if you, say you decide that your dulcimers need a website, or whatever else you happen to have. I'm really looking forward to the Benny Goodman as cultural ambassador tour.
How many are following along?
Okay, so now comes the good one. Now comes the following along part. So you go to omeka.net and you'll say your online exhibit is 1 click away. Well, it's type in your login, type in your password, and then click. So it's some keystrokes and then a click. There's also, this is actually a really great video. OMEKA, the team that builds OMEKA, since they are academics and librarians working together, they've spent a lot of time on their documentation. They have a lot of good videos as well. So there's a lot of stuff to help you get started. And
Is everybody who is following all set? Do we need any?
okay, does anyone need help quickly? Okay, great. Let's just make sure this is actually my password. It's always embarrassing. Okay, so when you go to omeka.net, I just have the free account, so I could have one site, which at the moment I don't have one, so we're going to create one. But I've also worked with a couple other people at Brown who have built omeka.net sites. Either one was for a class in American Civilization department, or now American Studies, we're no longer civilization. But we are an object of study. And then this was from the Pembroke Center for Women and Gender Studies.
So note that means that you can be invited to an OMEKA site. So if 2 colleagues have OMEKA, you can each make one site and then invite the other person, and then you can build them collaboratively that way.
Yeah.
So that's one way of dealing with the one site limit.
Exactly. And so, and as you may have noticed, the class site was very small. They haven't done much. It was just a 1-class project. And the Brown Women Speak project, they actually got an account and started to pay, because you can tell they're almost at a gig.
There was a hand?
She was.
Yeah, oh, yeah, sorry. Okay. So we're going to add a site. So first off, we need a subdomain name. So, and that actually has to be unique, because it's going to go up as whatever I put, omeka.net. So I think I'm playing it safe with this.
So should we all just type what you're typing?
No, don't do that.
No.
Because if you do, then we're going to have
I
domain name.
understand.
Yes, right. Sorry.
Because I'm-
So that sort of we will follow along, but NEMLA 1, NEMLA 2, NEMLA
course.
Figure out the name authority amongst yourselves, and
And you can't have the same. Well, I mean, it shouldn't matter what the title of the site is, but the URL part is what really cannot conflict.
right. All right. So now we're going to add a site. And we're back in my dashboard, but now we have this. And my role here you'll see is owner. Elsewhere I was super. So I've actually been promoted, although it doesn't sound like it. Think of like owners and landlord, and super is like superintendent. And this one I can delete because it's mine, and I can't delete the Pembroke site or the American Studies site. So we can view our site. And you'll notice this is actually the theme. This is the default OMEKA theme, OMEKA.net theme, and it was built off the Gulag site. So they built the Gulag archive, and then they abstracted that theme and did that. And this is what they hope that CH&M did that themselves, but this is what they hope other people will do. So, as a plea from an open source developer, if you end up creating an OMEKA site, and it's omeka.org, and you hire a developer, and you get them to do a really nice theme, think about asking for just a couple more hours for them to abstract it out and submit it back up to omeka.org as its own theme. A lot of the themes are community generated, and that's how this keeps going. So, yes.
So I created a little site, typed in a few words, and immediately got error, exceeds plan limits. What do you think I did? Or is it because we all did something at the same moment?
No, it shouldn't be. Do you have another site? You've never done this before?
Never done it before. And I
don't
didn't
know.
type in a
Ellie?
lot of words, so.
I said the same thing.
No, I think.
You got the same thing? I
First it
feel
couldn't
so
find the
much,
server, and then it said exceeded limit.
I feel so much better.
Okay.
that It's not.
Unless everyone, I mean, yeah, okay. We have deployed Ellie, so all will be well. Yeah.
When I signed up yesterday for my account, I got an error message, but then my account turned out to be there anyways, so.
Yeah, so, you know, as with all, so one possibility is that everyone's hitting the site at once.
Yeah, somebody else.
So we do, every once in a while, CH&M servers do have load issues. That may be what's going on. I hope not for their sake, but I hope so for our sake, because then that means that nothing's really wrong. But it is a hosted service. So, we already have a site. We have nothing in it, but we have a site. We can search our nothing. We can browse.
The error, by the way, when you make a site and it says that there's some error, not this exceeds limit error, I haven't seen that before, but the other one I got before, and then my site was there and everything was fine, so I don't know what that one was, but you
I'll
can
tell you what,
safely
let's
ignore
do-
that one. I'm wondering if if for some reason people are sharing, but you didn't have any sites in your account, so it wasn't.
And nothing to do with NEMLA. I mean, I picked something other than NEMLA.
No, if you pick the same URL, it would,
You could try a different
it would have
URL.
told you, it would have given you an error message that would have said, like, this URL has already been chosen. So let's just go forum.
That's the second time.
Exceeds site
You
limit.
did?
All right.
Try it again.
This is the other thing, you know, doing this live, so this may or may not work, but, this seems to be mostly for OMEKA. OMEKA.net. So there, I'll go through and look through other stuff. Ellie will take a look. But the point being, you can go to the forum and you saw that there was a lot of stuff already. And if you don't have like a 30-second reference question help window, then you will definitely be able to find what you're looking for. So this is our site. And we can browse the items, which we don't have. We can browse the collections, which we don't have. So here's another thing about OMEKA. You can have items and you can have collections. An item can only belong to one collection because it's the library model that, you know, it was donated and it is therefore part of the collection of something such or something else. If you want to group items across collections or have items that you can find in other ways, then you use tags. See, yeah, this is so much easier. Historians are like, but why? You can collect things in so many ways. Doesn't work that way. So, I made my accounts long ago.
When you made your accounts, didn't it send you an email and you had to go
Mm-hmm.
back in and validate? Is it possible? Oh, you did it, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Because
All
they
right.
might not let you make an account.
It worked on about the 5th or 6th
Yeah.
try.
Okay, so that's a
Okay,
server
so-
error. That's their issue.
You should tell them about it.
Yeah, we will. So this is the dashboard. Does everyone see how I did that? Okay. So getting started with OMEKA. Items, add new item. Collections, add a collection of new items. Users, browse users. Because I am an owner, my role is technically super, but there are multiple roles. There is super, there is admin, there is researcher, and there is contributor. I don't quite know why they did this, because when you talk to a standard systems administrator in a university setting, admin is typically the highest role that anyone ever gives somebody on a server, but here it's actually one down. So if you do install omeka.org, and you're asking someone else to install it for you, so they have to create the first role of user, say like, and make me a super user. Otherwise, they will probably give you admin because they think that's the highest, and you'll find there are things you can't do. So you want to be a super. Super means you are God as far as this thing is concerned. Admin means you're a demigod, archangel. But one of the things I think that admin can't do is admin can't add other people. So if you are a super user, then you can invite other people to join your site. If you're an admin, you can't. A researcher is a really great role to give students who you may be hiring to put things into OMEKA, because they can upload materials, and they can create items and create collections, but they can't actually, I think they may not be able to delete anything, and they can't invite all their friends. And then contributor is even below that. But if you have, there should at least be 2 supers if you have a group team, so that if someone's out sick, then somebody else can give permissions and take care of it. But that's just a little gotcha.
And you know, as you probably know from any of these things, give the most privileges you can to the most people you can.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, playing the game of, oh, he shouldn't be able to edit or whatever, just gets you in trouble because he inevitably needs to edit.
Right.
So there's no limit to,
No,
There's no limit to users.
no,
So I'm gonna invite
having
Ellen.
a role, or their role, yeah, their.
no.
Oh.
I mean, you can have as many of each as
Yeah.
you wish.
All right.
And I would make everybody a super, basically,
Right.
unless it's a student and I really, really don't want them touching the configuration or something.
Who's following along? Not at home. All right.
Well, who are you?
Okay. Who are you? What is your OMEKA? Or actually, here I'll do this for brown people, so I'm not asking for people's emails in live on video. I'm showing Laura's, but we can get all of it, because as we know, in service positions, our emails are available to the world. So I'm not actually moving anything else. I am going to, Laura, you are super, so I'm going to be super user, and you'll get an email saying that you have been invited and you want to join, and you can decide whether or not you want. So that's how simple it is.
I just said yes.
Okay, then. So I will reload this page. There she is. Okay. Okay, Ellie. So that's how easy it is. And it defaults to super. So other things you can see, and you'll get this from most of the browsers, there's this little side thing. There's general settings. This is your administrator email, the site title, the site description. site copyright information. Choose your license, exactly. I love having a boss who's also the copyright specialist in the library. Site author information, where you can decide what you want to say, whether you want to be known as the site author, whether your university should be the site author, your library, whatever. And then the tag delimiter. So if you are creating multiple tags for something, how do you want to know that you hit a new tag? It defaults to a comma, which is very tiny down here and right next to a very large line. But we can also do exclamation point or
Can you
semicolon.
scroll it up a little bit so
I
people can attack them?
can't, that's the
Well, that's just how you should.
bottom of the screen.
Mm.
But it says tag delimiter right here. Does everyone see that? Even in the back? Okay, and it defaults to comma. But if for some reason you are using lots of people's names and they happen to be French aristocrats and they have lots of commas in their names, you don't want to, you can choose a semicolon or a pipe or a pound sign, exclamation point, whatever. And you can decide whether or not you want to show empty elements. So if you create a test thing and it just stays empty, you can decide whether or not that's going to be seen. All right, that's general settings. And as soon as you click, you have to save settings. Clicking away does not save the settings. Always make sure you hit a green button at some point before you navigate off a page. And then you'll get this helpful little settings have been saved. Here we have plugins. Plugins are plugins like WordPress or add-ons in Firefox. As we often say, there's an app for that. Well, in OMEKA, there's a plugin for that. Things you want to enable right away. Coins. These are the things that come with. And this is even what you get with the free account. You automatically get these plugins that you can install or uninstall. And if you get the pro account, I think you get 4 or 5 others that you can use. You want coins because then people can pull it into Zotero. Yay.
And anything else.
And anything else, but especially Zotero. CSV import. So this is great if you have already cataloged your materials somewhere else. You can just get a CSV export of your catalog data, decide for what fields you want, assuming it lines up with Dublin Core, and go ahead. A Docs viewer puts a Google Documents reader in, so if you have PDFs or Google Docs that explain part of the exhibit, you can go ahead and it'll just start the little flipper thing. You've seen it. Exhibit Builder, successfully installed. Admin item show pages, yes. Decide how big it's going to be. The public items, yes. So here it says, do you want to be able to see the viewer on the admin? So on the back end, as you're putting things in, you want to be able to see a Google Doc or a PDF in the viewer. And you want to say yes, because otherwise it's going to show up as a thumbnail or you'll just get the first page. And then in the public theme, you also want to use it. You can decide to do one or the other. I would suggest both. Save changes. You want the exhibit builder. The exhibit builder is the plugin that builds the exhibits. Without it, you can't have exhibits. But it's actually not part of the core functionality of OMEKA. It's a plugin. And do you want to use the exhibit browse page? You can. Depends on how many exhibits you have. If you have lots of exhibits and that's the point, then click that. If you only have 1 or 2 exhibits and tons of items, then don't bother. How do you sort exhibits?
Or if you really only want your OMEKA to be a list of exhibits.
Yeah.
Right, so if you want to really present this site as these are my exhibits and not this is my catalog, my archive, my items. I mean, not that the items are hidden, but it says it's a different kind of thing.
Right.
And
or if you put in all your items, you could make 1 exhibit. Then
yeah.
you might want to do that. But you notice that the default that we had had a featured item, featured collection, and a featured exhibit just automatically. Right? So what it would do is it would replace this home screen with another one that instead of all of the recently added items and featured items and stuff would just be your list of exhibits.
It was like the Gulag page that had the different thematic.
Right. This one, well, they don't have exhibits, but this is another possible sort of home/page.
You may get to this, Jean, but I see with the Dulcimer site, the title has an image behind it and stuff like that. So what allows you to,
You upload it, I'll show you.
okay.
So you can upload your own image as a header.
But do you have options to change fonts elsewhere and some?
It depends
some
on
other-
the theme that you pick. The different themes have different capabilities. They'll let you do, certain ones let you do certain things. So,
The best thing to do for OMEKA.net is to find a theme that you're really happy, is to find a theme you're pretty happy with, because there's not a whole lot you can do. In OMEKA.org, you can do a lot more, and it's a lot of it's really quite simple. So for those of you who have experience with web design, when it comes to modifying a theme, most of what you want to do for OMEKA, just as with WordPress, you really just need to change the cascading style sheet, the CSS, to change the font, to change the color, to change how big the columns are. All of that's in one single file. But in OMEKA.net, they don't really let you, the code is hosted on their server, so they're not about to let you go rooting around in it. So for OMEKA.net, you want to find something that you pretty much like. So you can use this, and you can sort exhibits, date added, alphabetical, recent. I will give you no. So, sometimes this happens. Oh, just remember me. Okay. So, we are going to look at, we want settings. So my dashboard, if you click up here, you'll notice this says OMEKA.net, and this will take you to the central dashboard of all the OMEKA.net sites that you are a part of. And then if you do view site, go to public site, manage site, takes you back to the dashboard. So let's look at some themes. And you can do this, you can get here in a couple ways, but this is one that has a big red big black line through it. Here we go. Manage themes. So the current theme is seasons. Yeah. So, okay. No. So what? Go for it. Drive? Okay. So seasons is the main theme. And I'll just show you, here is rhythm. So you can see you see the theme. So there's rhythm, there's seasons, there's OMEKA test, which is actually what it defaults to, and OMEKA divs, and a minimalist OMEKA theme. But here we have, and we can configure it. So we have options, style sheet, winter, spring, summer, autumn, for those of you familiar with the Land's End catalog. Think that, right? So summer is yellow, and spring is a sort of pastel-y other thing. Winter, yeah, you get the idea. You can choose a logo file, which will go up. I'm not going to do that right now.
it has to be.
It has to be small though. And you can have custom header navigation. So if you don't like, that's something you'll probably do after you start to create the site. You see the links they're putting up at the top. If you don't like them, you can reorder them. You can decide whether or not you want to really display a featured item or a featured collection. Change that on and off. How many recent items do you really want to show? How recent is recent? What do you want to put on the home page? How do you want to display? Which Dublin core fields do you want to display? And then you can add some footer text, and you can display copyright in footer, yes, please. So you can do all of that. Basically go to town, and that's without even uploading a new theme. So we'll change this to winter because it's a nice one, and really, who are we kidding? It's gonna sleep over the weekend. So we are going to do that, and now we're going to go back to our site. We should change the theme, and now we have a different theme, right? And I could have gotten rid of these. I could have changed this. Wait, here's our copyright. Yay. All that stuff. Sorry, Catherine. Yeah.
I have a quick question on adding the Dublin core.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a
link to?
I'll show you.
Elsewhere, okay.
Yeah, no, it's okay. This is a very modular dashboard, so as you go through it, it's always referencing other stuff.
Okay.
So let's just start items. Okay, browse items, we have none. So it's helpfully suggested, why don't you add one, then you can browse them. All right, so when you add an item, you get Dublin Core. And it actually includes, helpfully, the official definition of the field from Dublin Core, which is great if you're working with students, or grad students or interns.